What if Excel could just clean your data, build your charts, spot errors, write formulas, and explain everything it's doing, all just by asking? Well, with Microsoft Copilot, it can, and today I'm going to show you exactly how. Hi everyone, Jamie here from Teachers Tech. Today we're diving into one of the biggest upgrades Excel has ever received, Copilot. Whether you're brand new to Copilot or you've tried it a little and felt overwhelmed, this video is going to walk you through everything step by step. We're going to start simple, and everything I show you today is going to be beginner friendly. And the file we're working with will be available so you can follow along. Copilot is now available in all Microsoft 365 accounts, so you'll see Copilot buttons and basic AI features no matter which plan you're on. But for this course, I'm using Microsoft 360 Copilot Premium, which includes the full set of Excel features like advanced insights, richer app skills, deeper data analysis, and support for the newest Copilot capabilities. Everything I demo here will work on the premium version. So we're going to get started by looking where Copilot lives in Excel and how to use its two different modes, chat and app skills. I have my Microsoft Excel desktop app open here, and I'm already logged in to my account. And I want to point out under the Home tab, and if we look across the ribbon all the way on the right, we have Copilot. And as I mentioned, we have two different ways we can use this. If I click the drop down, you're going to see chat and app skills. Let's go ahead and click on chat first. So this is where you ask Copilot questions about your workbook. You can use this for insights, summaries, explanations, trends, recommendations. Think of chat as a conversation about your data. Let's go back up and click on App Skills. These are your action tools. So App Skills tell Excel to do something inside the workbook. Things like insert a pivot table, create a chart, analyze a selected range, generate a formula column, apply conditional formatting. So a simple way to remember, chat analyzes and App Skills act. Now, when this panel is open, you can also resize this. If I just move my mouse in between, you get the double-headed arrow. You can see how you can stretch it out and get the size exactly as you want. And if you want to close it, just go ahead and hit close. Another way you can quickly access either chat or app skills is when you click on any cell, you're going to see the shortcut to Copilot right here. So if I go ahead and click on it, you'll see here's the app skills. If I have data, these would be showing highlighted where I could use them. And if I go and click on chat with Copilot, it's going to open up the side panel. The other thing I want to point out, if you right click on any of these cells, you're going to get the Copilot suggestions right here as well and chatting. For the best Copilot experience, especially with Premium, your file should be saved to OneDrive or SharePoint. This allows Copilot to work with your workbook in the cloud and use the more advanced models. So in this case right here, with a quick demo, if I'm saving it to go to File, you can see we have Save As. I have my OneDrive right here. I can go and make a new folder. Let's call this one Excel Copilot. I'm just going to hit OK. I'll open this up and I'm just going to give this a name and I'll just call this Sales, and I hit Save. So now I'm on auto save up here. This is saved in the cloud, and this is where Copilot will work best. I want to give you some information about supported files. Copilot supports modern Excel file types like XLSX or XLSM and cloud synced files. The older formats such as XLS or incompatible file types may not work fully with Copilot, so saving these in the latest file format ensures full feature compatibility. One important thing to know, and if you've worked with Copilot before, your data no longer needs to be formatted as an Excel table for Copilot to understand it. As long as you have the clear headings and it's structured like a table, Copilot's going to work fine with this data. That being said, I still believe it's best practice to take your range and turn it into a table when working with Copilot in Excel. And you can do this very quickly if you click anywhere inside the range here. And if you move up to Insert, you're going to see Table right here. I would get used to using the shortcut Control T. Just any shortcuts will make everything a lot faster. But if I go ahead and click on this, this is where I can have my range of the table. My table has headers. I'm just going to go ahead and click OK. So it quickly turned this into a table now, and notice as I add more rows to it, it automatically will be part of that table. One of the good reasons why you might want to switch over to it. So this is just a normal range. If I go ahead and let's say highlight this and I go and click on Copilot, Notice I have all this available to me now. If I wouldn't have saved this in the cloud, these won't be showing. So just let's go ahead and click on Show Some Interesting Insights. And I look over to the side, and I'm just going to stretch this out a little bit. You can see, even this just being a range, if I scroll down, I can see now that Copilot analyzed, even though it's simple information. If I go down, you can see it even created charts automatically just by looking at this to look at the insights. And that's it for Module 1. You now know the difference between chat and app skills, how to use Copilot suggestions, make sure you save to OneDrive or SharePoint, and you don't need to format your data as a table for Copilot to work. In the next module, we'll apply Copilot to a real business scenario and start generating insights, charts, formulas, and pivot tables. In this section, we'll explore how Copilot handles real-world data sets, although we'll keep them small and simple to start with. We'll be generating insights and charts to building formulas, cleaning data, creating pivot tables, and even performing a quick what-if analysis. This is where Copilot starts to feel really powerful. Before we dive in, download the practice workbook and save it to your OneDrive so Copilot can work at its full capacity. If you take a look at the workbook, notice at the bottom that there's different tabs that we'll be using for different demos. With the workbook open, let's go ahead and be on our first tab here, Retail Sales, the first worksheet. And we're just going to do something we quickly did before, but we're going to highlight the range, and everything has the heading and is clean in this one, so no need for a table. But I'm going to go ahead, click on this, and we're going to go to Show Me Some Interesting Insights. And you can see right away on the open panel here, we're getting some insights. Let's take a look what they're telling us. Now, let's take a look at what Copilot created for us with this one simple prompt, Show Me Interesting Insights. Now, I want to point out this right here. AI-generated content may be incorrect. It's important for yourself to double check the numbers. Now, Copilot can save you a lot of time in creating everything, but you want to make sure, especially if you're passing this off to someone else, that you have the person in the loop that's able to check this off and to confirm that the AI is correct on this. But we have it at this point, and this is a simple data set, so we can easily check this. But if we look at it, we can look at the products that it's definitely pulled out, the months, the regions, and we can say, yep, that's all correct there. They did an analysis here. We have our products, our revenue. They put it into one chart here. The total revenue for each product here by month. And then if we keep going down, we have it here by region and the revenue. So from that one simple prompt, we're able to dig into all of this information. They're letting us know jacket is the top selling product. February saw a slight increase, and East region outperformed the West. So if you have a large data set with a very simple prompt like this, in seconds, you're digging into the important information that you can pull out of it. The other thing I want to point out, let's go ahead and start a brand new conversation here. And I'll just go over here and I'll do the Show Me Interesting Insights. And when we look at the response that Copilot gave us this time, notice that this is very similar than the first time, but we're not getting the tables and everything. So my point is here that each time you ask a question, you might get a different answer back. Not to say it's wrong, but it just might answer it differently. So if I move down, you can always see the suggested. So if I want to get deeper results using advanced analysis mode or visualize the revenue breakdown by product, month, and region. So this is a point where I could add that, which in the first time it gave me the answer. Or maybe I just go ahead and ask it something specifically that I'm interested in, like show me only the revenue trends from the West region, and I'll send that off. And based on this prompt, this is what it created for me here. So if I move down, you can see that it has an interactive chart as I hover over any of these here, and it has the legend at the bottom. And I have this insert into sheet. So if I go ahead and click on this, this gets added to the sheet. We're going to come back to some more charts in a moment, but we can see it answered the question that I asked to it, but it even created the chart as well. But another time it might not do that exact same thing. Now I want to talk about visualizations. Now I want to show you how to create visualizations using Copilot in Microsoft Excel. I'm on the marketing sheet here, and I'm just going to be making some quick charts with this. Now, the first thing I just want to point out, if I go ahead and highlight this, and go up to Copilot this way, notice we have summarize using pivot table or chart. I'm going to come back to that later when we get to pivot tables. So that will be further on. And right now, I just want to stick to a basic chat with Copilot. So I'm going to go and open up chat here, and I'm going to ask it to create a chart that also communicates this data effectively. So it's going to go through, and I'm going to send this off and create some charts. It will create more than one. I like how it explains it as well. Now, using chat, you can see it went through for 21 seconds and reasoned all the different steps that it went through. This time we have a number of different charts that it created. So retail sales, revenue by product, and month. And you can see how it's clustered within them. So we got January, February, but it didn't stop there. It actually explains why it works. So groups by month and product, so both time and mix are visible. I really like this so that you understand that they're just not giving you a random chart. They're actually explaining why this works. But it didn't stop at one chart. If I move down, you can see now it's leads versus spend. So efficiency scatter. And we have this type of graph here, and down below, it says why it works. And then as I continue on here, it even did a third one. We have donations, total raised by campaign, and it did a bar graph here, why it works. And now it tells you about how to insert these into Excel quickly. Now, in this method, they are telling you to download each of these to your computer, and then you're going to go to the insert and then upload. But you can also copy paste as well. So if I go and click copy on any of these pictures, I can move over here and go Control V and paste them in. I can go ahead and size them. You can move them all around the sheet or place them in on whatever sheet you want. But remember that this won't be interactive anymore. It won't be dynamic. This is just a picture over here. So that's why they actually go through down here how you can recreate these. So they go through step by step of how to create this as a pivot table and putting it in. So it does walk you through all of these steps. But at the very bottom, you can see it says, yes, please embed these charts into my workbook. Let's go ahead and click on this and send. But it's not going to go and embed it directly into this. What it does for you instead, if I just move down a little bit, it has a download here. So I'm going to download the document. And then if I open this document up, but remember right now, I'm just going to click enable editing. All this one is saved to is to my PC. So if I wanted to keep using this at this point, I have a new sheet. If I want to use a Copilot, I would have to re-upload this one to OneDrive or SharePoint. Now, Copilot isn't all about charts. You can do more. You can create actual images. So in this case, what happens if I want an image to put on this sheet that would match this topic? So what I did in Copilot, and this is just in the chat, I asked it to create an image that would match the topic from the marketing sheet. And it went and created me this. So I could go ahead and take this now, and I could go and paste it right in the sheet. Now, I could even go further with this. You can see text labels for each campaign, make the image more colorful, or I could give it more of the exact details that I'd like. But the point I'm trying to make is you're not limited at just charts. You can get it to create any type of image you would like. One of my favorite features of using Copilot in Microsoft Excel is formulas, whether it's creating instant formulas or giving fabulous explanations to help you understand them. So we're going to use the student score sheet here, and I'm going to go and highlight this all, and we're going to go to Copilot, and you're going to see that there's suggest a formula column. I'm going to go ahead and choose this. Very quickly, it comes back. This is a pretty simple example, but you're going to understand how to use this to help you with formulas. And let's see what it did here. So it said, looking at A1, D6 on student scores, here's one formula column to review and insert in column E. So it's going to add up each student's exam, project, and quiz score to show their overall performance. So it's just creating a very simple average. I can go show explanation. It is telling me what it's doing here. So it has this new column that is suggesting, do you want me to add this to? So as soon as I hover over or hover off, notice how it shows where it's going to go. And if you like what it's doing, I can go ahead and hit insert. Now, I want to point out with each of these, this just didn't copy these numbers. These are formulas. So if I'm just going to go and double click in here, and you can see that this is a formula. If I look into the formula bar up top, I can see the exact formula. If I click in a different one, I can see the formula for that cell. So that's great. Let's see if we can go a step further now. So if I go ahead and ask it this, create a weighted final grade using 40% exam, 30% project, and 30% quiz. So before you're kind of thinking, how do you write all of this down in a formula? But this time we're just asking it to do it for us. And now let's see what it gave back to us. Now it's determining based on the factors. I can see given 0.4, fraction of the total exam for there, 0.3. We have our formula. The explanation is going through it step by step. So it even tells me, so it's using the round function to round the total to 1 decimal place. So if you don't know much about creating formulas or functions, Copilot is going to do this for you. So I'm going to go hover over, you can see where it's going to go and insert this in, and I have it. So I could go ahead a little bit more if I wanted to say, explain this formula in simple terms. I can go ahead and send this, and it's going to come back and even help me understand it more. And look at the explanation. It gave it kind of a bulleted form of each step of what's happening. So you can it really starts to teach you about what's happening, so you can dive in as well as getting Copilot to do it for you, but you can make any corrections that's needed. But let's not stop there. Let's dig a little deeper with some other expansion tasks. Let's say create a performance rating of high, medium, or low based on the final grade. And let's see what it's going to create for us. Now, let's take a look at what it created for us. And I can see that they have some nested ifs in here, and they have medium, low that's going to be put in here. I'm going to hover over and see what we get. And this would kind of make sense. Let's see what the high, so 93.1. And I can go through and tell it to adjust. So I didn't even tell it to be 90 being high. If I wanted it to be 95 or 85, I could make all those adjustments, whether I tell Copilot to make those adjustments or I go ahead and insert them, and then I can make the adjustments myself inside the formula. And maybe you wanted to change your weightings, and we could go ahead. What if we change the weighting to the 50, 30, 20 recalculate? And this time it didn't use the round one. So like I said, it can give you the same answers, but in different ways each time you ask it. And I can go ahead and go to the bottom. It shows me what it gets there. I can see that it is going to be different marks just based on the weightings. And I can easily input that in. I could go and delete this column if I wanted to and have the new final grades. Now, I have something exciting to show you with a new update with using Copilot and formulas. And I'm going to go and delete this information here because take a look at this. All I'm going to do is press the equal sign in this cell. And look what happens. I can see generating formula. Quickly, it took a look at the data and it kind of knew that we must have some exam, project, quiz, and you needed an average here because that's what it created. It took these three cells, B2, C2, and D2, assigned weighting of 0.4, 0.4, 0.2, and I could go ahead and adjust this. If I wanted this 0.5, I could just type these in, 0.5, 0.3, 0.2, but if I hit enter, and then I have the formula done, and I can just double click here to fill it down. So I didn't even type anything at all. I didn't even ask Copilot, but it just looked at the data and kind of knew what to do there. Now, a different way we could do this as well, I'm going to delete all this information here. If we start typing again, and let's say if I start typing average this time, and what you're going to notice is it knows I'm looking for the average formula. So it looked up, you can see the symbol that it's using the AI. So since I suggested average and I hit enter, it just did it that way. So if I start equal and if I know a certain formula that I would want, then I can go ahead and just start typing it, and then it kind of guesses what I want to fill it in. So again, anything I go down here, if I put equals here, it will look, oh, do you want to sum it? Or maybe if I want an average, I start typing average. But just by that equal sign and putting enter, I can quickly create formulas and copy them to where I need to. It's fantastic how Copilot in Excel can help people with understanding and creating formulas. But another thing that it can do is conditional formatting. So rather than going up top and applying the rules and to highlight things with color so they can easily stand out, we can use Copilot. So in this case right here, if I highlight everything and I go back to Copilot, I'm going to suggest conditional formatting. So I want to see what it will suggest to me. I could tell it what to do, but if I go through this and you can see, okay, here's some conditional formatting suggestions. Highlight cells in exam when quiz cells are less than 89. Highlight bottom one in exam. Highlight cells greater than 90 in column exam. So let's say we want to highlight the high marks, so greater than 90 in exam. So if I select this, you'll see it will go through and set it up. All I have to do is apply it. I'll go down a little bit and you can see the color that they chose. So the fill color is going to be yellow, font black. I can go ahead and tell it to be a different color. So if I said green and white font, it will go ahead and do this. I'm just going to go ahead and leave it like this, and I'm going to click apply. And notice over here, the conditional formatting, the rule was applied. If it's above 90, that color was added to it. So let's try one more thing. This time, let's say apply a 3-color scale based on percentiles instead of values. We have the color scale here. Let's go ahead and apply this. And right away, this is being added to the entire sheet here based on the color scale that I told it to create. Data cleanup and categorization is a very important thing to know how to do in Excel. And there's lots of different ways you can do this, but you have to go through the process of learning all those. But now Copilot can do a lot of this for you. So we have our HR roles here, this sheet, and we're going to do some data cleanup. On this, you can see that we have some different things like sales here is lowercase. We have sales uppercase here. We have HR. HR is a little different. We have a repeat. So just some things that I put into it to show you how Copilot could do some cleanup. Let's go ahead and open up Copilot. And let's start with this prompt. I'm going to say standardize all job titles and categorize them into job families. Okay, so it comes back, and I like how it always explains what its thinking is. So we have our standardizing job titles. These are the ones that it pulled out of there. And we have these standardized titles. And then it goes ahead and it has the job families that are put into each of these, from human resources to sales to customer service. And then as we look, we have this final table of the names. And if I go to the bottom, we should have the scroll over, and it gives you an idea of how it cleanly put things together. Now, it kind of told me what it did here. Would you like this table to be exported back to Excel, or do you need further breakdowns? The one thing I noticed from up here is it never removed the duplicates, and cleaning the duplicates would be something I'd really wanted to do. So why don't I tell it to do that? I'm just going to say, check this sheet for any duplicates or inconsistencies. And right away, you can see that it found the duplicate name twice. It found the sales rep were duplicates. HR are duplicates with inconsistent formatting. All this, if you had a large sheet, the amount of time this can save you just by pointing out all of these things would be amazing to use. And I can see right away, it found the duplicate of the name here. As I go through, we have our sales rep, the lowercase and the uppercase here, HR to HR, customer service. It found all these inconsistency or the duplicates of here. If I had a large data sheet here, you can see how much time this would save me trying to go through and find all of these things. I didn't need to create any formulas to go and search for different things. It has recommendations as I go through. We have our examples, our table here, and towards the bottom, would you like help cleaning up the sheet or exporting a correct version? And I'm going to say, yes, please clean up this sheet. So now I can see the actions taken. It removed the duplicate names, standardized the job titles, categorized each role into job families, like I mentioned before. And we have this looking good here. You know, the other thing, and I have the sheet that I can download. So just like I showed you before, I can download this. Then I would also have to upload it again, but it's going to be a separate sheet. There's one more thing that I'm just wondering, and if I can say, make the titles more professional. Now it shows me the approach it's talking about, from sales representation to sales account executive, HR assistant, human resource coordinator. Oh, I like that. It's sounding much more professional. So not only is it helping me find the duplicates or inconsistency, it's just helping me with things sounding better. And as I go through at the very end now, so now I can see, would you like this updated table exported to Excel? So I could say yes to that, and it would create me that new Excel file that I could download, then upload again, and continue on, all with just having that conversation with chat in Copilot. I want to show you a different way to do a little bit of cleaning, and I'll come back to this in the capstone project. But if you go up top, if you're under home, go over to data. And notice that we have clean data. And a lot of times this will pop up when you freshly open a sheet, and you'll see this yellow bar that will have suggestions about cleaning data. If I click on this, notice that it highlights, what do I want to change? So I could change sales rep to this, or maybe I want this to be a capital. I could go ahead and change it like this. So now I'm going to apply both to change here. And if I hit apply, it quickly changes this, and I'm not changing. I don't have to create a brand new sheet or download anything to do it this way. But this is more for punctuation and different capitals like this, but it's definitely an overlooked thing, using Copilot to clean your data this way. Earlier on in this module, I showed you how to use Copilot for visualization. With a simple prompt, we were able to make multiple charts that we could use with our sheets. So what I want to show you now is how to create pivot tables or pivot charts with Copilot, even if you've never used a pivot table before. So we're going to use this data right here in finance. I'm going to go and highlight this. Now, if we go up to Copilot, we can summarize using pivot table or charts here. Or if we go over to Copilot here, you need to be app skills. You'll notice that you can summarize using pivot table or charts here. So let's go ahead and click on this to see, without really much of a prompt giving the details what we want specifically, what it will create for us. So very quickly, it went and created this pivot table. And I knew it wasn't going to be very large because we don't have much information over here. But what we can do with this now is add it to a new sheet. Just like if you're starting a pivot table from scratch, this would be one of the options. The difference now is that Copilot set things up for you. So I'm going to go ahead, add it to a new sheet. And if you look at the very end, I have this brand new sheet called 19. I'll just zoom up so we can see this a little bit better. I'm going to close out of this, and I'm just going to click inside the pivot table, and it's going to open the fields. I can still go through and customize this. So if I click on date, you can see how that quickly gets added, or category, and I can just click these on. I can move these different fields from different places, columns and rows, but I didn't have to do that to set this up. If I go over to here, I can go through, and if I wanted to do some filtering, you can see how quickly you can make all these changes. Now, I'm going to close out of this and just go back to Copilot, and I'm going to keep this sheet here, but I'm going to go back to our finance one, and I want to change it a little bit this time. So I can be specific with this, but remember, when we're asking for the pivot table, we're going to be under the app skills. And this time I'll ask, create a pivot table showing the average transaction size by category. So you can see that it created the pivot table based on exactly what I would like. Let's go a step further. This time, let's say create a chart for this. And it selected a pie chart here. I'm going to go ahead and add this to a new sheet. I want to point out what it did here. So before, it created images for me in the different ones that I was putting in before, but this is interactive. So this is connected to this pivot table over here. So if I was going to go and change, let's say I didn't want supplies, and I hit OK, look how this is dynamic. So I can create these pivot tables and pivot charts right inside Copilot, even if I've never ever created one before and didn't know how to start one. Another powerful way to use Copilot in Microsoft Excel is for trend spotting and what-if analysis. I'm on the delivery performance sheet here, and we're going to ask Copilot some trend questions. And so if I go ahead and we're just going to use chat, and this is the question that I want to ask it. Find trends in orders and on-time performance. And I also wanted to identify one anomaly. I'm going to send that off. Okay, so here are the key trends. So we see order trends, steady growth from January to May, 320, 410. On-time performance trend generally improves over the period with volatility, kind of breaks that down. Relationships between order and time percentage, moderately positive. Oh, they give me the correlation there. Months and okay, I will keep going. And they got a little chart that they put together for me. One anomaly to call out, February, despite a healthy rise in orders, plus 20, on-time performance dipped to 87%. That would be a very important thing to know, to be able to find that. And again, with just this one question, I was able to use Copilot to search through the data. It's even suggesting what this applies. So scaling through spring didn't degrade service quality, may achieve both the highest order volume and the best on time. So not only does it stop at the trends, it's suggesting what it implies. What if I want to go a little bit further? You can see there's suggestions down here, provide more details on the February anomaly, but I want to go, if on-time performance increased by 5%, so this is my what if, how many fewer late orders would there be each month? I'm going to send this off. So here we go. If on-time performance increased by 5%, how many fewer late orders? So this is the analysis that it did here. So here's the summary. Each month improving performance by 5% would reduce late orders by about 16 to 20. So again, the detail that it gives with just a simple prompt, looking at the data that you provided. So I could even go again further and say, forecast the next 3 months based on the current trends. And here we go. Below is the simple 3-month forecast based on the linear trends in the delivery performance. And we have this here that we could copy paste over to our sheet if we wanted to, but it's just more this conversation with Copilot to understand what's happening with the data. I want to show you now a way that a lot of people don't think about using Copilot in Microsoft Excel, and that's for summaries for presentations. And we're just going to use this little bit of data and create a summary that we could use. I'm going to go over to chat here, and I'm going to ask it this. So based on this donation sheet, and the reason I'm saying this donation sheets, because that's the name of this sheet, is if I don't, sometimes it will go through the entire workbook and it will apply the board report based on all those. So sometimes you do have to be specific what you're asking for. So I'm asking it to create a board report summary with 3 insights, 1 risk, and 1 recommended visual. So I'm being very direct with what I want here. Okay, let's see what it did. So it analyzed the donations data, and we have our key insights that it wrote up a little bit of a summary about. Consistent donor engagement, a little bit there, seasonal variable in fundraising. So it gave the 3 points that I wanted. It's giving a risk here and then a recommended visual. It's just saying a cluster column chart would be what it would recommend. Let's try this. So if all of a sudden I want to do this for a leadership meeting, rewrite this for a leadership meeting, I'll send that. And now if I take a look at this, you can see how this becomes a little bit different than for a report, but more about for a leadership meeting. We can even ask it to provide 2 recommended next actions. And here it is. So we have develop off-season engaged strategies, diversify fundraising channels and campaigns. So my whole point of this part of this module is to making sure that you realize how you can chat in Copilot with your data to get any type of information and help you need without even leaving Excel. In the first 2 modules, we focused on understanding how Copilot works inside Excel and how to use it for everyday data tasks, generating insights, creating visualizations, building formulas, cleaning data, and summarizing information. In this module, we're going to take things a step further. These lessons are about advanced specialization scenarios where Copilot Premium can even save you more time and open up new possibilities inside Excel. I also have a new workbook for you to download and save to OneDrive. Before we jump into the more advanced scenarios in Module 3, I just want to show you a really powerful Copilot feature that's easy to miss. Copilot can extract structured information directly from files like a PDF, even if that PDF was never designed for a spreadsheet. So this means you can analyze financial reports, operation updates, or summaries from your organization without retyping anything. Let me show you how to do this. So I have already uploaded a PDF to OneDrive, but if you need to upload it, you can go ahead, add content. You can see where you can add work content or upload images and files, and you can go and grab it. So I have it right here on my computer, so I could go ahead and add it that way. I also want to point a shortcut. If I just hit /, it will go right away into your files that are stored in the cloud. So I can see it right here. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab this PDF. And I do want to show you real quickly what this PDF looks like. And you can see just an intro paragraph and some financial table information. So if I go ahead and send this away, even without asking it to do anything, you've seen how Copilot works. It's going to provide me a summary, and it's even going to pull out the table for me. All right, let's take a look. So you can see that it has the monthly financial overview. It's citing it from that PDF that I've uploaded. Here is the table that's in it. And we can go ahead, take a look, key insights it's given me. And at the very bottom, I can go ahead and add this to a new sheet. So I do have my new workbook open, and if I just hit the add to new sheet, it will add it to the very end. You can see it says sheet 6. I could go ahead and call this, I'm just going to retype this as PDF, and it inputted this as a table. You can see this is already as a table, and it gave me the key insights. So you could keep asking it to do more things too. So if I go ahead, create a line chart showing revenue and net profit from the extracted data, format it so revenue and net profit uses different line styles and clear labels. And I can see it reasoned for 11 seconds. And here is the chart. And just like before, we can take this, we can paste it in to our spreadsheets. So all the things that I've showed you before, whether it's calculating trends, executive summaries, highlight patterns, I can ask Copilot starting from a PDF. So think about all that time that you don't have to recopy things over to Excel. Just upload it to Copilot and let it do the work for you. Now, I hope you have your new workbook open as we continue on with this module. So in this lesson, we're going to combine two related data sets, production runs and defect logs. So you can see I have it right here, the first two in this workbook. We'll let Copilot help us pull them together and calculate the defect rates by line and product. So the first thing I'm actually going to do also is in this module, I'm going to be turning my information into tables. And remember how I showed you how to do this? We can go Control-T or we can go to Table and go ahead and it should automatically pick up the range if you're selected in the range, hit OK. And just like that, we have our table. And I'm also going to turn this one. This time I'm just going to go Control-T for the shortcut and hit OK. So quickly, I have the two tables. I'm not going to bother changing any of the styles on it. I'm just going to leave them as is. Now, I'm just going to go up top and I'm going to go and choose App Skills. I could go through chat and have kind of the same conversation, but I'm going to want it to create a new sheet. So remember how I explained the differences at the beginning from the conversation to the actual doing. So that's why I'm using that one. So I'm going to start with this. So I'm going to ask this question. Describe the production run sheet and tell me what each column represents. Something very simple. It's just going to look at this sheet right here and just look at the headings, and it should come back with a quick update. All right, so here is the description. It just looks at all the column headers. This sheet provides a record production activities, including when, where, when produced. So pretty simple. Let's go with this now. Describe the defect log sheet and how it relates to the production run. So we have two different sheets. So we have the defect log and production run, these two different ones. So I'm going to go and send this off. And again, in a few seconds, so we have the explaining of the defect log sheet here with the different heading kind of set up the same. Relationship, defect log entries can be linked to production runs and production runs using the shared columns, date, line, product. So yes, I would agree with all of that. Okay, so now I wanted to create a new sheet for me. So this is what I want. Create a new sheet that combines product runs and defect log by matching date, line, and product. Include units produced, and defect count. So just by a prompt, I'm just telling it what I'd want based on these two different sheets. Okay, it tells me a new sheet can be created by merging production runs and defect log. We have it right down here. I can expand it. We can take a look at it, make sure it's what I want. And at the bottom, insert to new sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and insert this. And I'm just going to go ahead and call this combine, just like that. And on this one, so what do I want next? So we have our new sheet. I'm going to go and say this. Add a defect rate column, so I'm on the new sheet, that calculates defect count divided by units produced and formatted as a percentage. So I'm telling it to do a few more things now. Even if I don't know much about Excel, I can kind of explain what I want. Okay, so now from that prompt, I can see the formula just like what we showed before. I can see the explanation and what it looks like. If I hover over, I can see there's the defect rate here. I'm going to insert that column. Now let's go ahead and ask another question here. Which line and product combinations have the highest defect rates? Summarize in 3 bullet points. And here we go. We have the output right here. And here's the bullet points that I asked for, so I could go ahead and copy paste them somewhere else. And one last question. Let's go ahead and ask it to create, better spell that right, create a column chart showing defect rate by line. And there we have our chart. So through this whole conversation, I was able to get Excel using Copilot, and I was using the app skills so I could do things, insert things in. I just had that conversation with it, and it was able to very fluidly create everything that I wanted in one go. I'm going to go ahead and open up my app skills again because I'm going to have some new sheets created in some columns again on healthcare visits. So make sure you're on the right tab. I have this ready to go. And the first thing I want is from the notes column in healthcare visits, list the most common symptoms and how many visits mention each one. So again, if you're digging into information, you have these long lists of data, take advantage of Copilot. And here we go with our themes. I can see that they have counts, they have headache and migraines, pain and swelling, and they seem to put this together quite easily. Everything is going to be cited back to it. All right, let's go a little deeper now. I'm going to ask it to create a new table listing symptom and count based on the notes in the healthcare visits. All right, let's check out what it gave us here. We have our output. I can expand that, but I'm going to just keep going down here and looking at what it says. The new table has been created. So I'm going to go and just insert to a new sheet. And I'm going to go call this one symptom and count here. So that should work. And we have this as a table because I requested a table and we have it on a new sheet. Now I'm just going to go back to my healthcare visits sheet right here. And I'm going to go ahead and ask this. Add a new column to healthcare visits called category and assign each visit to a high level category like respiratory, muscular, cardio, gastro, and others based on the notes. All right, I'm just going to move over here so we can check out this new column. As I hover over, we can see the themes right there. So I can insert that in, and now I can stretch this out a little bit to give it some more room. Everything themes based on each of these notes. Now we'll look at how to get deeper insights by iterating on our questions, not just accepting the first answer Copilot gives us. And for this, I'm on the sports tab sheet, and I'm going to go ahead and open up our app skills again, and we're going to start with this. So I wanted to look at the sports stats and tell me who the top performers are based on overall contribution. Okay, so I can see that to identify top performers based on the overall contribution, a composite metric that combines key statistics such as point, assist, and rebounds was calculated for each player. I can see how they created that now, and here are the top performance, and it pulls out that information. But I want to refine the metric here. So what I'm going to say is define an efficiency metric that takes into account points, assists, and rebounds per minutes played. Add a column called efficiency that calculates this. All right, so if I take a look at this now, I can see that it's using the points, assists, rebounds divided by the minutes. We have an efficiency column. If I hover over, there it is. I'm going to go ahead and insert this in. And notice this is one of the reasons why we like tables, is because it's able to just take these entire columns into it. I'm going to go this time, rank the players by efficiency metric and highlight the top 5. And this time the players will be ranked based on efficiency. We have Gavin Price, Quinn James, Peter Gray, and that we have that list based on how we changed it, which is a different top 5 than the last ones. Of course, we always like to create charts with our information, so let's create a chart showing efficiency of the top 10 players. Now here we have our chart that we can quickly add, but I want to even go further with questioning. Compare average efficiency by team and summarize which team appears strongest overall based on this metric. So we keep digging with this information. Now we have the teams listed and the efficiency ratings. Now focus on the guards. Who are the top 3 guards across all teams? And here we go. The top 3 guards across all teams ranked on their efficiency are. Hey, this could help maybe with some fantasy football leagues or different things like that to analyze stats. Now, this is the pattern I want you to notice. You ask a broad question, refine the metric, rank, visualize, and compare subgroups. Copilot lets you iterate quickly. In this final lesson for Module 3, we're going to look at something more advanced but extremely powerful, using Copilot Premium and Python and Excel. Even if you've never written Python code before, Copilot can create the code for you, explain what it's doing, and build custom forecasts and charts directly inside Excel. Make sure you've turned your data into a table like I showed you before. I'm going to go up to Copilot and go to App Skills. And the first thing I want to point out is that one of your options is give a unique insight using Python. So I'm just going to go ahead and choose this. So it went through and created this table, and it was using Python. I'll show you what I mean. Here's the code through here. It created this. I can go ahead, I'll expand it. I can insert this into a new sheet. Now, if you go through and do the same thing, it might create a chart for you each time. It will create maybe something a little different, like what I've talked about with different Copilot prompts. It's not always the exact same one. But I'm not going to insert this one. I want to do something else. I want to go to this one here. Get deeper results using advanced analyst mode. So if I would have asked this at first, I could have jumped to this, but I'm going to go and do this now. And what you're going to notice, I'm going to get the option to create a new sheet where it's going to move everything over to with Python. So right now you can see start. I'm just going to click this. It's going to create a new sheet, automatically write and insert Python formulas, and answer your prompt in multiple messages. So I'm just going to hit start. And remember, my prompt is just this, the get results using advanced analysis mode. So it's going to go through and look at a bunch of different things, and then we can look what it creates for us. Okay, so after only a few moments, I have all of this analysis sheet here. So you can see from the charts that it placed in, the growth rate, the regions, it did a deep dive into it. I didn't really specify it directly what to do. And you can see at this point, as I go through the deeper results, we can see the analysis, the code for each of these. And I can continue on with this too. So if I was going to go to the bottom of this, and I'm going to put this in. Use Python in Excel to forecast the next 6 months of revenue for each region. Let's see what it creates for us. All right, I can see it added it right to the bottom here. I can add results to a new sheet as well. I also get that option where I can, if I wanted it on a new sheet, I just asked it to put it directly in this one. I can see I have my next 6 months going through here in the forecast for it. So using Python becomes a lot easier, even if you have no idea or have never used it before. So take a look at this using Copilot. And that's it for this Copilot in Excel tutorial. I hope you found it helpful and gives you the confidence to start using Copilot in your own spreadsheets. If you've enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a like, subscribe, and check out some of my other Excel videos and AI tutorials. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time with more tech tips and tutorials.